In this video, we're going to talk about 4 important things independent producers and artists are experiencing and getting frustrated with or just flat out doing it wrong. Things like making excuses about their equipment, not having the right workflow process, not being consistent, and not being willing to collaborate with other artists, to name a few things. My guest today is the mysterious MoFlo Muisc, and he is a gangster when it comes to this process. In the last 26 months, he has worked with over 20 artists from all over the country and has single-handedly mixed, mastered, and produced over 110 songs. This is my friendly chat with MoFlo Muisc. Give us a little bit of backstory on you. Kind of like where you are contextually right now. We're all currently in quarantine. Today's date is April 17th. We're all like deeply in the middle of this quarantine. Tell us where you're spending your quarantine and how you started.
Okay, well, first, this quarantine is amazing for me because I just love being in the house and by myself. So, because I'm an introvert, I just love being by myself. But I'm in Michigan and I'm 26 years old. I've been producing for like, I think 9 years, but like professionally for like the last 4, like actually producing artists and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And I started when I was just a musician playing in church, playing the drums. I'm a drummer. I've learned how to play the drums or known how to play the drums ever since I can remember. So I have a very musical family. My dad plays music. He produces. Mom sings. Sisters sing. Brother does music, and everybody in my family does music. So it was kind of easy for me to get into it. But I guess I was the one who just really pursued it the most, and I saw a future in it.
I love that, and I already want to highlight that because people got to be relating to that, because how many times do we come across the 2 things in your story already that I want to highlight? So many people, we hear it on The Voice, we hear it on American Idol, we hear it on so many different things. So many talented artists start in the church, you know, so you're already saying that. So I hope like that's already like people are starting to identify with you. I want to just go through this. This might be fun for you to even listen to. There's so many artists that you've worked with that I already had made connections to, and then I would hear on Spotify, and then lo and behold, like who worked on it? It was Moe Flow. I was like, oh my gosh, man, this guy. So first was Fenton. Josiah Williams, April 2018. I hadn't heard or met him. Bodi, I did hear of Bodi. I want to say that I had a play in introducing Hyper to Bodi, and they worked on a song. They worked on a song together. That was October 2018. Then you worked with Kristie, February 2019. I didn't get a chance to meet her. IMRESQ out of Nambia, Africa. We were friends with him as well. February 2019. And then Reagan Capaci, who you've been working with a lot with right now, who I met because of Bodi. And so I know Bodi then introduced Moe Flow to her. She's had some songs with you that have like really popped off with Reagan Capaci. Josh Sellers, I've met him very, very briefly, May 2019. And this is in 2019 is when it really starts ramping up. So you had Kristie, IMRESQ, Reagan Capaci in March, Josh Sellers in May. Angelina, also a friend of ours from the UK, June 2019. JSteph, July 2019. Jake James. I want to say you worked with Jake James prior to this, but I have August 2019.
I haven't worked with him personally. I think he just featured on a song with me and IMRESQ.
Featured on stuff with IMRESQ and then with Hyper, because you've done stuff with Hyper. So, so Jake James had mentioned Moe Flow. Pinkplata, I had not met her, but she's got some really unique, interesting sound stuff that really seemed like it pulled you even more, like your creative juices even more. So shout out to Pinkplata. Hiddenhills, also August 2019. Plantvibes, September 2019. I hadn't heard of her. Braelyn, I think that's how you say her name.
Braelyn.
Braelyn, okay, March 2020. And then Meredith, April 2020. So all in all, by my count, I went through and I was like going to their pages and seeing what songs they worked with and how many things were EPs and stuff like that. So by my count, which could be off, but I tried my best, put you at 15 different artists 109 songs in 26 months. That's
Yeah.
just stuff that I was actually able that you're labeled on. So if you've done other work
Yeah.
for other people that wasn't
It's
necessarily a collab project.
yes, it's probably 10 or 20 more artists and a
What?
bunch
Come
more
on.
songs.
That's
Yeah.
crazy. Again, because just in what I see with Fenton, 2018 was really the year. And him and I talked extensively, and I kept pushing him a lot with that. He started off with like more hip hop, and then you guys all of a sudden did like some pop songs, and then he was like shocked that stuff like really blew up. And he's like, well, shoot, I got all this, like, I got this hip hop EP that I was like, but now I'm like kind of crossing over into pop. What should I do? I was like, release it, dude. Release it. Who cares?
Exactly. Yeah.
Dude, in 1 year, you and Fenton went from hip hop to pop to hip hop to like R&B all in like 1 year. I think by my count, there was like something like some almost 60 songs in 1 year that you guys did.
Yeah.
Like, tell us,
Like,
how do you work that much?
it's a lot of different elements that go into it. It's like, it can depend on the artist I work with, how well we connect. It can depend on just the genre of music I'm making. Because what I would tell any producer is to build your workflow.
Okay. Good word.
Get a workflow that you can execute everything you need to do as fast, as quickly, as efficient as possible, to where you don't need to spend 3 days on one song. You can spend 1 hour on one song because you just know where to go, what to do, and how to execute everything. And it helps the artist because that's a good turnaround time to where they send you something that you can give it right back and you can continue to work on a lot of different things. That's how it was with me and Hyper. We just had a connection where he would just record random freestyles for like an hour and a half. And I would take out of his random freestyles, take certain parts and make 10 songs.
What?
I would take, he would make a section that I just liked, like 8 bars. And then I would take that and make a hook and then make a whole song, another beat out of it. Most of the songs you hear are not songs I made a beat, sent it to him, and then he sent me the vocal. No, I don't really work like that. I make maybe a loop and send it to him just so he can record, or any artist. And then whatever they make, they send me the vocals, and then I can make 20 songs from it. It's like with him, he would send me like 3 minutes of a freestyle of him just singing or rapping. I would take a part I think sounds cool, use that, take another part, use that, pull it down, take another part, and make 3 or 4 songs. That's why we were able to make like 60 songs. And we still have like 60 more songs that we haven't released yet. It's like,
that's great.
That's just what we do. Listen to them, listen to what they have put out, or go to their Instagram and just hear what they have on their Instagram if they haven't released anything, to try to build a sound that I think would fit them. And then what I would do is I would make snippets of beats. So I would make a 30-second beat that's just what I think will encompass that artist and what they would love to be on, or what I think would complement them. And then I would send them like 15 snippets, and I would go, which one do you like? And they would go, I like 5 of them. And I go, could you make something to that snippet? Like, could you come up with a hook? Could you just sing a melody? And then I could take the melody, and then they would send me that, put it with the beat. And then for some reason, I don't know how, it's just something clicks with me when I get vocals, and I can make a whole song out of somebody mumbling something. It's hard for me to make a whole song by myself, just making an instrumental.
Right.
I need to just make a loop to get whatever creative thing is in me, just get it out. And then I send it to the artist, and then whatever they do, it just inspires me.
Your advice to a producer was find your workflow. Now, like, is that coincidence that like you just explained like a very serious workflow? MoFlo Muisc, like, where did that? Is there like a connection to that, or is that just coincidence? Like, where did the name Moe Flow come? Because it clearly, like, your method of being able to create the volume that you've created is because you've found a workflow and you're Moe Flow. So, like,
I never even thought of that.
is that
The
coincidence?
name, I think so.
That makes a lot of sense, though.
Yeah.
Where did the name Moe Flow come from?
My dad used to make, well, he still makes music, but him and his god brother, they used to make music like back in the 80s, 90s, and they wanted to start a company called MoFlo Muisc. To this day, I don't know what it means. He's told me like 10 different things.
It was just the name that
remember, he just said MoFlo Muisc, and he used to say it all the time. So I was like, yo, I'm just going to go by that name. And he was like, okay. And I just took it and got the copyrights and all of that to it. And I was just like, okay, I'm MoFlo Muisc. Don't even care.
Well, dude,
I was just going to go by Jerry Young. I didn't care.
Dude, I mean, we've just discovered something here because, I mean, it was really meant to be because your name and your method, like, makes so much sense now. I think that was really inspiring. Even for me, that's not a producer, to be able to listen to how you just explained that. It's almost like your method was made and developed in this era of digital that we live in. Yep. Have you worked with any of these artists, like, in, like, real person?
Nope.
Or have you completely worked remotely with every single one?
Every single person.
Every single person. Wow. So have you met any of the artists that you've worked with?
Not yet.
That's really cool. So, man, again, I think you're just really smashing excuses. How is your process in trying to explain to a new artist your method?
The excuses I usually hear is like either they just don't think they're good enough to do it. Like, I'll try to get them to record and they're like, I'm just not. Their writing process is really long. Or like they don't have a microphone to record. Now that's a big one because like right now, your iPhone, for some reason, has the quality to where you can record on it. I know how to take iPhone vocals and make them sound professional. I spent like weeks trying to like perfect that. And I think I'm at a point where it's artists I work with. They don't have a studio or anything. They just send me vocals from recorded, I think just voice memos. And I just take that and I've learned how to perfect it. Because like I'll meet you where you are. If I think you're dope and I think you're really good at it, I'll buy you a microphone or I'll try to take your vocals and make them as best as I possibly can. Like I'll do whatever I can to make sure you can do what I think and what I believe that you can do.
So whether you're reaching out to an artist or an artist hits you up and says, yo, I want to work together, then you say, okay, send me a vocal first, or do you say, well, here, I got this beat, like what's your first step with them? You're like, okay, cool, let's work.
Yeah. The first step is I'll send them snippets of songs because I have 1 million of them. I'll just send them stuff that I'll listen to them and I'll go, okay, I think this might fit your vibe. And just to get a sense of what they might be into. And if they don't vibe with something, like I just did it today before this whole thing happened, before I called you. An artist, I sent her like 10 snippets. And she was like, I like these two, but I don't really know. And I said, okay, give me a reference of a song that you like just on the radio. And I'll just make something like it and just give it to you. So she sent me something. And before I called you, I sent it back. And she was like, yes, this is perfect. So now I'm going to work with her on something.
So when you say snippets, how long typically are these snippets that you send people?
It can be from 30 seconds to a minute. It's just mainly it's intro, verse, and a hook, or just a hook and a verse, maybe. So just to get the idea, the foundation of a song, I like to send somebody something where they can build on it.
I mean, you said you're already sitting on tons of tracks with Hyper. You have other stuff just sitting on your computer. Between creating new hooks, new snippets, and like editing for all these, like, I mean, 15 to 20 to who knows how many artists that you're working with. When do you make time to like create new snippets? Or I guess you maybe answer that with this girl where you sent her some stuff, she sent you something else, you just instantly went and just like created something else?
Yeah. When I get inspired to work with a new artist, it just inspires me to make like 30 things. So if I hear you and I go, yo, like this guy is dope, I'll make like 10 ideas just for you. And you may hate them, but that's fine because now I have 10 other snippets that I can send to some other artists.
Sure.
Nothing goes to waste.
Yeah, I see that.
I'll use everything. I'll just use something for somebody at some point. I don't think about like, wow, this was for Bodi, but he doesn't like it. Or no, I'll give that to Reagan now.
Right.
And she'll use it.
Mm-hmm. Let's talk about money, not necessarily finances, but let's talk about money, because so many producers will start and they'll want to like make a beat tape or make a, put something up on a beat station, and they'll, want to charge per beat. How did you make this connection from going that route to like, let me just hit up people and let me just start making stuff? Because now, I mean, you're sitting on you're hovering right around that 200,000 monthly listeners on Spotify. I don't know what your checks are between all the digital platforms, and we don't need to go there. It seems to be that you're being able to at least make something from your passion during all of this. Do you have another side hustle job, or is this your side? This is it.
Yep. Makes enough for everything. So
how long did it take you to be able to, from starting to create music to like, okay, like go through that journey where it's like, okay, I'm not going to have a regular job anymore. I'm just going to do this. Did you ever have another regular job?
It was always, or have you been
always music? Look at that.
I've just been blessed, man. It's ever since about 2016, I've had enough, whether I was producing, because I went through, you asked me first, like, how did I get to just producing artists? It's because I started just making beats and trying to sell them. With that life is that you have to be consistent. You have to be cool with getting a lot of no's and a lot of dead ends. So like you can make a beat store, but then it's kind of hard for people to traffic. And a lot of times you have the prices where it's like you can pay $200 for the exclusive, but they're like, that's too high. And for leases, it's like, I would rather have somebody who's really good on the song instead of a bunch of people. But that life is it just wasn't for me. And it wasn't as fruitful because I used to produce. I've had placements. I've had people who had my beat in the industry right now, but it just didn't happen. It didn't come to fruition because the label got in the way. Their managers got in the way. Like I've had people go, I'm going to buy this beat and give you a lot of money. But the label were like, nah, never mind. So I was banking on that to go, okay, this is going to change everything. So I was like, I think the best route is to just find somebody who I think is amazing and they think I'm dope, and we just make stuff and we get to split everything equally and just benefit from it. Why would I spend my time trying to possibly get somebody to listen to my beat and then think about buying it and then think about giving me publishing that's not 50%, it's like 3%, when I can just get with an artist and we can make everything and get all the benefits from it.
So 50-50 split.
Yeah. And that's how I do all the artists. I don't take like, I need to get 60 because I'm the producer. No, like, I don't care if I made the whole thing sound good and you just are singing on it, 50-50, because I just think that's fair. But yeah.
I love that. Love to hear that. What, again, that I find interesting about you and why I've been wanting to get this chat is that you literally are working with the day and age in which we live in. So many artists and so many producers are looking to the past and letting the past view that they have of the music industry influence their current state in the music industry. I would love to get your thoughts on like albums. So I have this big pet peeve about albums. I don't have a problem with an album. I have a big problem with the way that everyone distributes an album.
Yeah.
And people are starting to more and more, they're like, oh yeah, I see where you're coming from, Josh. Like, yeah, singles are the way things go. But I'm like, but there's still a strategy and a specific reason of doing singles. And I don't really like calling them singles. I like calling them individual songs or tracks. I don't like using the word single because, listen up, everyone, the definition of a single was an invention from the music industry. The purpose of a single was to draw attention to a body of work to get you to want to get in your car, drive to a store, walk into the store, find the CD, go to the cashier, buy it, take the saran wrap off, go back into your car and put the CD in your CD player. That was the purpose of a single. And then the other big pet peeve when it comes to EPs is that people think that, oh, because I'm releasing, it's not a single, it's an EP. I put a body of work together. It's 4 songs. Like the only reason you did 4 songs versus an album is because you didn't have the time, the money, the resources, or the creativity to put an album together. But in reality, the EP is not doing anything for you either because when it comes to the methods of distribution that we have currently, you don't get any other attention. There's no benefit for you to release more than 1 song at any given time. The difficulty that I had in trying to count how many tracks you released, because when I go under singles, there's many artists in there that have released EPs, but it's just 1 album cover. I don't know how many songs are on there. So it's really easy to land on an artist and not know that they have multiple songs released because they wanted to call it an EP, but Spotify and everyone else lists it as a single. The magic number is 7. 7 songs or more gets labeled as an album. There's been a few people, I don't know how they've done it, that they've been able to release an album with 6 songs. I don't know how. Maybe because it was an actual collaboration. Are you uploading the songs or are artists uploading the songs? Because the way that you're distributing them as a collaboration, that it shows up on your page and their page, is a huge hack that has not been used on Spotify.
Yeah. It's usually them, but I still do it with some artists too. So it's kind of both. Okay. But you're right when it comes to albums and EPs. I can't stand
Tell people.
letting go. I cannot put out an album. I've done EPs, but I'm like, the people don't consume it the same anymore. I would rather just put out individual tracks and then maybe after put it in an album. I think that's what me and Ange are doing. Angelina, is that we're just putting out individual songs.
Oh, I was on her case big about that. So she's been walking through that. She gave me her whole calendar. I went through this like hardcore with her. I was like, girl, individual songs. Afterwards, you group them all together. And so I'm like loving what she's doing. Yeah.
We pretty much, me and Ange have that pretty much set already. That whole project and how we're doing individual songs. But yeah, I would rather all day just put out an individual song over an album. People just don't listen to it the same. Like I would, especially on Spotify, people don't really have like the attention span to just listen to a whole. I would rather them just listen to 1 song and then another song if they feel like it, and then and just release them by themselves and not to have anything cluttered with them, maybe.
And here's the thing that I get kickback from people are like, oh, well, Josh, I'm an artist. I still listen to albums. I'm like, okay, cool. Send me tell me some albums that you're listening to. They're like, okay, I'm going to send them to you. They'll send me send me 4 or 5 albums. I want to see the albums that you're listening to. They send me artists. When I go to the art, if I haven't heard of the artist, then I'll go to the artist and I'll look up the artist. The artist is sitting on 1 million monthly listeners.
Exactly.
It's like, bro, of course you're listening to the album.
Exactly.
They freaking got credibility. I go, that's not you. You're sitting on 7,000 monthly listeners. Exactly. So yeah, you listen to an artist that has 1 million, but ain't no one going to listen to your album because you have 7,000 monthly listeners. You don't have people's attention, or they'll send me an album that's 2-3 years old. And I'm like, bro, first of all, it's again, an artist with at least 1 million and it's the 2 to 3 year old album. So it's been shared
Yeah.
around. It's got some attention. It got, I was like, again, that's not you. So I think you and I are talking specifically to the hundreds, if not hundreds of thousands of independent artists that are out there that are struggling between album, EP, single.
Mm-hmm.
Guys, Moe Flow and I are trying to tell you, focus on individual songs and be consistent. Am I not right?
Yes.
What would you say are the main ingredients for an independent artist to be successful? What would you say those ingredients are? We're wrapping up here.
Consistency, knowing your sound. I think those two make up most of it. Like,
sure. And you know which one the third one, the ingredient that I would put in?
What?
Collaborations.
Yes, that's a good one. I was gonna say find a producer or find another artist that gets you, and then just put out songs. I think what messes up a lot of independent artists now is that they go to so many different producers that their sound isn't solid. But I think the cheat code is finding someone who you can create with and build with and try things with and fail with and release things that don't work, but just release it anyway. And just to build your sound.
I love what you said there. You said release it anyways.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You have to release. You can't, don't sit on anything anymore. Just put it out there. Because I can't tell people enough how many songs that hit big for me, I hate them. I hate the songs. I can't listen to them. I messed up on the mixing. I did this wrong. The music is goofy sound. I can't listen to it. But they're the biggest songs I've made. They're generating the most money. I tell everybody, just put it out. You never know what the people are gonna like. Just put it out there. You just see what happens.
Dude, I mean, think about the kings of the past, Michael Jackson and Prince, and think about all the music that they're sitting on because they listened to 1 or 2 or 3 people that told them, nah, don't put that out.
Yeah.
We only want you to release 12 songs every 2.5 years. That was the day and age that we lived in the past. Think of how much, these guys had money, they had resources, they had to have thousands of songs that never saw the light of day that were just bangers.
Yeah.
Crazy.
Yeah.
Crazy. In closing, I got a few people, but for time purposes, I'm only going to play these two of the artists that you've worked with sent in audio clips. And on the back end of this podcast, after we release it, then I'll have some of the others chime in. But let's see if you can guess who this is.
MoFlo Muisc is a machine. I've never seen MoFlo Muisc, so at this point, that was a figure of speech, but he could actually be an actual machine. I don't know at this point. But I mean, the reason I say that is that MoFlo Muisc is, he's a beast when it comes to music production. He can mix and master an entire track within the space of a few hours, and he can bring to life an instrumental within the space of a few minutes. It's phenomenal. I think outside of a few producers I know, he's in a league of his own, a force to be reckoned with, and I think it's just an absolute privilege to be able to make music with him. I appreciate him simply for the fact that he's able to understand sort of the vision that you have for yourself, and he's able to put that into sound waves. Absolutely phenomenal human being. So shout out to you, Moe Flow. This is IMRESQ, and I approve this message.
Hey. Andy, IMRESQ. I remember when I first heard him, I think he just had a video on IG, and I just knew I had to work with him. I was like, okay, I have to stop everything and I have to work with this guy. And as soon as we worked, it just kind of, we made our EP, the Epistle Project, and it just clicked. And he is amazing. I love his voice. I love his passion. I love what his calling. It's just so dope, and it's beautiful to work with him. We just released a song today, Heartstrings, with official St. James on IG. But
okay,
I love that song. It's like we made it last week, and it's amazing to me. And our workflow is amazing. I just got him to get a microphone. Like, this is why we were able to make it last week, is because I was funny. Like, yo, you need to get a microphone so you can just try stuff, and I can make 30,000 snippets for you, and you can just record on all of them. And then we have a bunch of songs that we can just put out. But yeah, he's amazing. Thank you, Andy. That was awesome.
From Nambia, Africa, and he's in like med school, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah.
Like, his parents want him to like be a doctor, and he just like loves making music. It's crazy. Yeah. So good. Such a good story. And then last one, let's play this one here.
So honestly, there's a lot of things I could say about Moe Flow, but I'm going to try to keep this short. Overall, ever since I met Moe Flow last June, I've grown a whole lot as an artist, and I credit a lot of that to him. He really helped me to just expand my own boundaries as an artist, gave me a lot of different genres to work with. Also, he just really helped push me out there into kind of into the spotlight, if you could say that. I was able to make some playlists and gain some traction. And then also just like in my normal circles, like, he just really helped my friends even notice, like, oh my goodness, my friend actually makes good music, and look, who's this producer guy. Like, Moe Flow's he's done a lot for me. So and I know he's done that for a bunch of other artists as well. He's really hardworking, and I really enjoy working with him. We just finished up a track today, actually, and yeah, I mean, every time that we get one done, it just reminds me of how thankful I am that we were able to start working together. So wish you the best, man, and keep going hard. Can't wait to do some more stuff with you in the future.
Hey, so who was that? And tell us a little backstory on that.
JSteph. Let me tell you, I was thinking, because we did finish the song like yesterday. I was thinking about him. What drew me to him was his consistency and his voice and his sound.
He's got some range.
Yeah. And I was like, I like what he's put out so far, and I like how he approaches it. And his songwriting is so structured, it's easy to build around. So I was like, I need to write. But he's like such a pure soul. So like he has this innocence to him that I'm like, yo, people can relate to you, and people need to hear you and see you, because he just has something on his life. I just feel like so many younger people will connect with him.
Transparent.
Yes, that's what it is. And he just has this vibe about him that's just like, you want to be friends with him. You just want to talk to him. He's just like a nice guy, and he's so talented. And I remember when I first heard him, I think he messaged me and was like, hey man, I just want to work with you. And I was just like, I listened to him and I was like, yes, this is the guy I need to work with, because I was looking for somebody I can go to like that pop range with, but I needed somebody who was consistent enough to where I could just make whatever and then they can write to it. So that was just a blessing that he messaged me, and I was like, yeah, man, I'll do it for free. Let's just work. Let's just do everything, and let's just put it out, collaboration, and just see what happens. And I believe in you, and I think you're awesome, and let's just work and see what happens. But yeah, he's dope, and I really love that guy.
That's awesome. That's awesome. Yeah, my first conversation with him was during the middle of this quarantine, and it was at least an hour-long conversation. So good, really, and I got that from him. Really good guy. Dude, I hope this was eye-opening and inspiring for people listening. Thank you for your time, dude. I just have an even more greater appreciation for your workflow, Mr. Moe Flow. I think that There's very few producers that are literally working the same way that you are, where you're carving out a brand and a image for yourself like few producers are.
Yeah.
Because we have like in the EDM world, right? You have the producers, but all of them, they work with other artists similar to like what you're doing. They don't build with them. You know, you're just starting in a really unique place. And I think it's super awesome that you shared that you've been doing this. This has been your only source of income since 2016?
Yeah.
All you've done is make music. So that's got to be hugely inspiring to people, because I know I've spoken to so many people that want to make music full time and they don't know how to do it. I think in this chat, you've really like laid out like how you need to do it. You know, you had said, be consistent. You had said, know your sound. And then I added in collaborations, because you being the producer and working the way that you are, instead of worrying about trying to like sell a beat, you bring an added value to the people that you work with, because you've helped connect them within the algorithm. Like you go in your Spotify and you see like people also like this artist. It's like all the artists you've worked with. So you continue to make yourself be that much more valuable. But I think you're seeing from perspective, like I was able to build this through collaborations and consistency. So there's no reason for me to like switch out of that. You're having joy. I mean, I can definitely see it in your face, in your voice, that you have a lot of joy in doing what you do. And so I just want to encourage you that all the information that you've learned thus far and what you continue to learn, like you have a lot to give to the industry in this day and age in which we live in, man. So I foresee more people wanting to pick your brain on, you know, where this industry is going. So hats off to you, man.
And it's been a pleasure just talking to you. I've been waiting for this because I just feel like I needed to say this stuff, and people have been wanting to hear me say things. So
yes, that's good. Thank you so much for your time, man. I'll let you get back to working with all these artists that you're working with. And dude, you know you have our full support, man. Anything we can do for you, just give us a holler, man. Much love. Thanks for everybody for tuning in. Till next time.
No problem. Yes, sir. Bye.